All right, you've made it. All the training that you've gone through, hopefully you're feeling really good about using Asana and you understand the tool really well. One last section that I wanted to cover, just because it's more of a philosophical, how do we use Asana rather than how to use the tool. And that's communication in Asana. This is one of the most important things. If we get this right, this makes the tool so much more valuable for everybody. So really hope you can lean in and help us by participating with Asana, keeping these things in mind. First of all, we communicate in Asana. I mentioned this earlier, but I need to mention it again. Compare communicating in Asana versus an email. If it's a project you're working on or a task that you're working on, and you have to hunt through 8 different email chains and sort through to figure out when the timestamp is of the last piece of information that is the most up to date versus a task with a clear description that has been kept up to date and a full history of all the conversation in the messages just below that. You can already tell where I'm leaning in terms of which one is most effective. And I hope that helps you see why we try to keep our communication with our staff in Asana. Now you might be thinking, which place do I put a message, or how do I communicate best? Let's just start with tasks versus messages, okay? A task means that there's action required, something that is yet to be completed, something that has the satisfying click of something being completed. That is a task. That is something that requires some follow-up, some further action. A message is actually not. It's just a way of communicating information, and that it becomes dead right there. There's no way of sorting that, reassigning that, setting a due date. In fact, there's no way even of converting a message into a task. So when in doubt, start with a task. Use a task, especially if there's any follow-up needed. Make sure you start with the task. And we already showed you earlier on that if someone does create, let's say I'm going to go to my inbox here and share my screen. If someone does create a message that you wished was a task, you can create this follow-up task right there. And that gives you a way for you to attach it to a project, assign it to somebody, set a due date. I'm just going to cancel that for now. But it's essential to do that, and you might even want to suggest to someone when they send it to you, oh, next time please send me that as a task, just so that we can all keep each other honest with that. Now remember, just for context again, tasks are the granular level where we do our work. They sit inside of projects, and projects sit on teams. Okay, that's kind of the nesting doll way that tasks work. Asana works. So think about the message you're about to send. Is it related to a task? Well, then you can comment directly on that task. That's the best place to put that message. If it is to a team, you can actually send it to the team. Does that make sense? If it's in a project, you can actually message everybody in that project if you need to send a message. But if it is at all related to a task, that is the best place, is actually in a comment on a task. As much as possible, that's where you want to be able to do it. So there's a filter to put it through if you're thinking it's not related to a project, it's not related to a task, it's not related to a team. When there's no action required, there's no follow-up, there's no way that this would lead to further action. This is just a dead, or once blurting out the information, and once you read it, you're done. It's an FYI. Then send a message, okay? And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Actually, why don't we go there right now? Let's go and show how to send a message. So I'm jumping into my inbox. That's the best place to look at it. And at the very top, you can see send a message. And that's where you could add the name of a person. So I could message Jeff, or I can message an entire team. I could message the creative team. You can see that the icon shows multiple people down here. That is the team. Or it could even message everyone involved in a project. You can see there's 4 projects listed here, and then the team listed at the bottom. So there's multiple ways to choose who you're writing it to. You add a subject, you add the body of your message, and then you can hit send. And it's a very limited item. There's not much that you can do with it. So again, that we only want to be using that when it's something that's kind of like a FYI. Now, another way you can communicate is the like button. And I just mentioned that earlier in one of the videos. But a like button shows up in so many different places. You can see it here. I can like a message that someone sent to me. And because this was sent to multiple people, you can see the collaborators here on this message. When I like it, everyone else sees that I liked it. It's a way for me to say, I read this. I saw it. Here's a task. I could like this task, in fact. And that might be a way, like I mentioned earlier, you could vote for it if everybody likes which task they want the most. That could upvote it in a sense so that it gets the most attention. Let me keep going down. Here's a comment on a task. So you could like that one as well. That's a way to do that. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I might have missed. This is the last few that I thought would be interesting. So I got a notification on my project, that clipboard is the project icon, that a new task was added to that project. And so I can like that. I can even interact with it in a few different ways. This bell we haven't seen before, that you can actually tell it to stop notifying you about tasks added to that project. But there's a lot of different ways you can like something. Namely, the most often would be if you get added to a task, or if you get sent a message or a comment. And those are really great ways to just say, saw it, got it, thank you, and get on with whatever you're doing. So communication is so important. Let's keep it in Asana. Let's use it on the task whenever we can. And when you have to, I mentioned the other ways where it might be more appropriate. Last thing, I've gotten this question a number of times. What if I got sent an email and I want to forward that along to someone with a little bit of information or whatever? 2 things you can do. I mentioned that you could get the add-on for Gmail where you can actually attach the contents of an email into a task, and then it pulls it right into Asana. That's the best case scenario. If you're not comfortable with that, then yeah, sure, forward it on if it's in email format to begin with, coming from an outside source, and you're forwarding on that information. Sure, forward the email. Don't feel horrible about doing something like that. We're just trying to keep our email to a minimum and keep as much as we can in Asana, because it's such a more valuable environment. When we get a task, we can do so much more with it than we can with a message or an email. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I hope that you're ready to go and conquer the world using Asana. If you have any questions, please do let us know. And I want to just mention one other thing. If you have any questions about any other environments that we have, let me just share my screen here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong view. Let me just go quickly to, here we go, OneChurch.to/internal. And if you're logged in with your email, you're going to see we have a section over here, staff training. If you click on that, there's going to be a way to request help right there for any of our digital tools, as well as this video and others are going to be linked up here to help you get into other ways of using the digital tools that we have. And we're always working on keeping that up to date. So hopefully that was helpful. Let us know how else we can help you, and enjoy Asana. The end. See ya.